precise, and it's not going to be a very quick game. We know that. They're both pretty set in their ways with their pace. I mean, Mark Walsh, you know, we ain't going back that many years, was a top player, and he's just gone off the boil. And when you do, it is so hard to get that extra form back that you used to have. And you've got so many people now that are coming up in the rankings that they take no mercies.
Yes, 9 years ago, Walsh reached the UK Open final.
140.
Also a semi-finalist at the Grand Slam of Darts in 2011. A winner of 8 PDC ranking titles, but did have that dartitis problem around about 7 or 8 years ago.
140.
Which he did do well to battle back from, to be fair.
Well, actually, in fact, when he had that, he come back a better player. That was when he threw his better darts, when he got over it. And he's still over it. It's just that his form has dipped, and, you know, you'd never lose the ability. It's just your brain that you lose that mindset, and that's the only thing that you lose. And when players come off the ball, and there's lots of them doing it,
60.
It's just that confidence in your own ability that you lose.
Walsh did play in this event, the Austrian Open, last year. Got knocked out at the second round stage to Robert Thornton.
140.
The winner of this one will play Steve Beaton in tomorrow's second round.
$140. Andrew, you require 136.
So Walshy will be back for 101 to hold his throw.
60.
And go
101.
1-0 up in this best of 11 match. Well, that's knocked off the odd one. Treble 20 would have left double top.
81. Andrew, you require 76.
Well, he set it up, Walsh, but Gilding is going to get at least one dart at double top. Double top it is, the big 16 down the left-hand side. That leaves double top, and this would be for a breaker throw. That's a great shot. And this is where Andrew Gilding has been making his mark on the Pro Tour over the last 2 to 3 years. When he's been given the chance, he's taken them. And that really is a bit of a shock to Mark Walsh. He's really got to dig deep now, because when Andrew gets in front, again, he's one of the most underestimated players on the Pro Tour. The people at home have not seen him too many times on the big screen, as I said that. He's Kirk Bevan shouting area rolls, 180.
$140.
And again, quite an interesting style of Gilding, the way he approaches the board sort of to the side. Sort of has that deliberate look to the side and then glances at the board.
100.
Well, it's all to do with his setup. It is just to make sure he's comfortable, that he's in the right position all the time. You know, he stands over to the left-hand side
60.
of the hockey, which is unusual for a right-handed player. As you can see there, he puts it right on the edge. Probably he's got something over on the black curtains that just catches his eye, so he knows he's set right, and then he turns and then just throws the darts.
60.
I mean, he makes it quite easy, doesn't he?
Certainly effective. He regained his tour card at the start of the year.
83. Andrew, you require 161.
Just knocking on the door of the world's top 50 now. And this would be a big outshot to go 2-0 up. Won't happen, but Walsh can't check out, so he really could do with a treble to put a bit of pressure
65.
on this. Well, went for the ball. 96 is a nice tidy finish to come back for.
Well, it's a 2-dart combination. Instead of 101 would be the 3-dart combination. So, you know, he effectively has given himself a double chance to hit a treble with one of the first 2 darts. A lot of players would go for the double 18 with his second dart if it's not in. But I don't think Andrew will, although he should do now, because that's a blocker dart. No, he hasn't. Now double 8. Or is that in? No, it isn't. Yes, it was in.
88.
That's unlucky. But this is a big ask for Walsh this early on in the match. Normally third dart's going to be at the bullseye. Don't miss the big 14. Well, he's hit the treble. Double 11 now.
113. And you require 8.
That would have been nice, but it wasn't to be. And Gilding now then, double 4 for a 2-0 lead. Double 2. Oh, in the madhouse, double 1.
No score. Mark you require 11.
Well, I have to say that's unlike Gilding to miss darts at a double. Now Walsh 3 for double 4. Can't afford to miss. Oh, that's wayward. You can't call that a guide. He's got to come inside that a good inch, and he does exactly that. That's a good last dart from Walsh.
Third leg is Mark to throw
And he's
first.
got the breaker throw and put him right back
Game
in
on.
this game. Now, will that affect Gilding, those missed darts at a double?
$39.
Well, not really taking advantage of throwing first, and there you can see Gilding with his foot.
It is unusual for a right-handed player to stand that far to the left. But I suppose, logically, you know, as he squares himself up,
140.
he's literally straight down the line with his arm to the board.
It's whatever works for the individual, isn't it? We see a whole contrast of
78.
throwing styles, stances and actions.
Well, I had a guy at Coventry last week come up and ask me some advice on his youngster. He's like 10 or 11 years old. But he stands right over to the right-hand side, you know, literally outside the hockey. And, you know, he's throwing from a lot further than most people. So I actually said to him, you know, straighten him up, but do it gradually. Get him to move a little bit at a time, not all in one hit, as Mark Walsh
140.
misses the maximum. You know, most people, if you look at the best players in the world and where they stand, none of them stand right over to one side of the hockey.
$60. $100. $100. Mark you require 144.
A solid ton then from Gilding, but Walsh on a 144 outshot here. Well, he needed another one of those.
Yeah, he was just checking himself there.
88.
And that's good thinking from Walsh. If you're not 100% sure in your head, just step back. You know, make sure you don't miscount. Gilding now, that's a plumb treble 20. He's coming down for the treble 19. That will left him the double 12. So Walsh is going to come back to take the lead for the
81.
first time in the match.
Mark you require
To hold on
56.
to his throw. Big 16. Right at the top of the board for double top now for Walsh. Well, he's dropped one of his darts, so he's hoping that this is going to go in. And the problem is, when you bend down, a little bit of a head rush. You take your time.
16.
Yeah, when you bend down,
And
it gives you a bit of a head rush. You're always best to stand back hard, take a big deep breath, and then come. Throwing it quickly after picking it up, not very often works.
So to nick the throw, Gilding wants double top
Game
And he
shot
gets
third
double
leg.
top.
Andrew Gilding.
for a 2-1 lead here.
Andrew to throw first. Game on.
Well, again, Andrew Gilding nicks the throw off a Walshy.
$100.
There's two different players here, really. Mark Walsh on the slide a little bit in the rankings, needs to stabilise and then move back up, where Andrew Gilding is on the up, as we call it.
59.
Gilding's got no scar tissue. He's just got things in front of him. And Mark Walsh, I'm afraid, has got things behind him. Huge difference in the mindset, pressure-wise.
$60. $100.
On stage next will be another UK qualifier, William O'Connor, another relatively new name on the scene.
137.
Up against Benito van den Paz, one of the European qualifiers who came through the qualifiers we had here last night.
100. $97.
Well, certainly that 57 is paying dividends for Andrew Gilding. Pretty good strong leg from him with the throw. That's exactly what he needed to do. He nicked the throw off of Mark Walsh, and now he's going to get 6 darts from 107. And there's that characteristic stance and look away and then look at the target.
83.
Yes, the stance and the glance. But he's got plenty of time to polish off this double 12 for a 3-1 lead.
40. Andrew requires 24.
Well, he nicked the first leg off a Walshy, give away the second, nicked the third. Can he take the fourth? Well, the answer to that is yes, as the dart goes in double 12.
Take his mark to throw first. Game on.
And now he is 2 legs clear of Mark Walsh. And now this is absolute crucial that Walsh hangs on to his throw here.
97.
Later on we've got Vincent van der Voort against Christian Kist, 2 Dutchmen
140.
battling it out on stage. John Park up against a Finnish player called Marco Cantella. Jamie Lewis up against Alex Roy. Bernard Royth of Germany up against Salman
97.
Renyan. John Henderson against Michael Rastovitz, who's sure to have plenty of local support, just as the 2 Austrians we've seen so far this afternoon have.
140.
Michael Smith against David Pallett. Mark Webster against Ronnie Baxter. That'll be one of the ties of the evening. Aaron Monk against Stephen Bunting. Terry Jenkins against Max Hopp. That should be a goodie. And Dean Winstanley up against
140.
Uwe Bakker, the 4th of the Austrian qualifiers in action, rounding off our first round action this evening. And then we're back tomorrow as the 16 seeds come into the competition to play the 16 winners of today's matches.
Andrew requires 167.
So a big 167 out shot then, and Mark Walsh really could do with out Gilding stretching that lead any further.
131.
And he will be back for double 18 with Gilding unable to finish.
$97. Andrew requires 36.
Well, he's put a bit of pressure on. Walsh, don't mind this double 18. And that's a good guy, just come inside of that barrel.
Game
Well,
shot
he come in.
Mark Walsh.
He went to the top end of the double, but
Like it's Andrew to throw first.
it doesn't matter where it goes in, it counts. And he needed to hang on to his throw. And now this is where Mark Walsh would love to see a 12 dart leg.
140.
And just a reminder for those tuning in all the time, watching online around the world and through the live PDC.tv website.
123.
I mentioned the 16 seeds coming in tomorrow. Just to remind us about the seedings and the Pro Tour rankings on which they're based.
Well, the Pro Tour ranking we brought in a couple of years ago, which seemed sensible.
60.
So the top 16 from those, it has nothing to do with the world ranking, and those come in. We used to have 64 players in this, but we knocked it down to 48, so we have a qualifier, and these are like a qualifying round
140.
to go forward to meet the seeds. And some people say, well, it's a bit unfair, the seeds. Well, no, it's not. You know, the top players earn the right to be seeded, and that's what happens.
And those Pro Tour rankings are based on results from
100.
where?
Just Pro Tour matches and these European matches. European tournaments, the main TV events do not go on the Pro Tour rankings. They only go on the world ranking.
So the Pro Tour would be what we call the floor tournaments, the
83.
Players' Championship events that go on around the country
Yeah, exactly
at
right.
the weekend.
Yeah, from Coventry we have 2 on a weekend worth 50,000 in prize money each one. We have roughly, I don't know, somewhere in the region of 28 of those throughout.
100. Mark you 155.
And it's a good way. I mean, the players now can play literally every week. Good money at stake. The top players are earning fortunes, to be quite honest. But you have to operate your diary correctly,
131.
so it doesn't make you too
And
tired, and
101.
you know, which a lot of players are getting. You know, that fatigue, and I have to say, most of it's through their own stupidity of the way they operate their diary.
49. Mark you 24. Game shot on the 6th leg. Mark Walsh.
Straight in then, and we
Seven-leg
are
mark
all
for
square
birth.
again then,
Game on.
at 3 apiece. And it is just starting to shape up nicely again, this first round match. We've seen some crackers already this afternoon, and very difficult at this stage to
140.
call a winner of this one.
Yes, Mike, we said at the beginning of the match we thought this would be like the Dennis Smith-Mensa Zulovic match, where it will go all the way, and certainly at the moment it's looking very much like that.
59.
Just going back to those rankings as well, and you know, the way the TV events like the match play that's coming up very shortly in Blackpool, the Winter Gardens, which there's still a few tickets on sale. If you go to the PDC website, all the information
140.
will be there, and of course then we have the Grand Prix coming up and the Grand Slam, and then leading into the new World Championships, William Hill World Championships this year. The top 16 of the world ranking go into
60.
the tournament, then the next 16 on the Pro Tour order of merit. So it gives us the big names that are on fire on the TV, and then it gives us the next 16 best performing professionals on the circuit.
180.
Sets it up absolutely beautiful, and that's why, you know, we're getting such great games in the early part of these tournaments now.
And so there is that incentive there. There is that reward for those who are doing well on the Pro
60.
Tour,
Mark you 141.
week in, week out, that they do have a chance of taking part in the big TV tournaments like the match play.
Game shot on the 7th leg.
That's a good,
Mark Walsh.
solid leg
Leg
from
standard
Mark
for
Walsh.
first. Game on.
Yes, I mean, at one time it would take you a minimum 2 years to get into any TV tournament, but now when we do it on the Pro Tour order merit, you can get in there fairly quickly, as Stephen Bunting has
60.
proved. You know, he's come over from the BDO, and he's been playing really well, and he's on the verge of getting the match play after, 5 months of playing in our system. So if you're good enough, but that's like any professional sport, if you're good enough you get in.
100.
If you don't blame us.
Walsh has really turned this around here. He was 3-1 down and now finds himself in front for the first time in this match.
100.
Well, look at these last 3 legs from Mark Walsh, absolutely superb. 14, 13, 11. He really has turned a screw from 3-1 down to 4-3 up.
100.
And he's certainly, this is the Walsh of old. I have to say he was one of the most toughest players to beat, whether it be on the floor or on the main stage. And he's showing a bit of that form.
140.
As Gilding bangs in an important 140. The man from Bungay in Suffolk.
140.
Oh, and this will really put pressure on the shot.
177.
Great pick up from Gilding to leave double 12. So Gilding will have 3 darts at 24
60.
to bring us back all square again.
Game shot on the 8th leg, Andrew Gilding.
Double 12.
9th leg is
And a
Mark
great leg to
Roberts.
stop
Game
the
on.
rot from Andrew Gilding. 4 legs apiece. I'm just having a quick look at the stats. 9 140s for Mark Walsh, 8 140s for Andrew Gilding, and 1 maximum each. That's good.
44.
140 count. There we have it. 180. A 171 from Andrew Gilding. But now it's 11. 131 pluses. And the reason that we put the 131 pluses up on here instead of just the 140s, because there's a lot of players that use the treble 19. So the 137 or the 18 to 134 we kind of class as equal to
Yeah.
a 140. So I think that's a good thing to point out. Unlike with the 180s, the 171 is a 177 from Andrew
83.
Gilding. It's 3 major trebles is as good as a maximum.
$95. $40.
And this is the first meeting of these two players. Never met each other before in an event. But as we were saying, Andrew Gilding, a relative newcomer on the scene compared to Walsh, who's been around for some good few years.
Well, certainly, Mike. If you're sitting in your armchair watching this game and you're
59.
betting in running,
Andrew acquire 107.
if you're a bit of a cute gambler, as we say, you could have bought and sold this game and be a nice little profit and don't care what happens, because Andrew Gilding went into a 3-1 lead. Walsh comes storming back to 4-3, so the odds would have changed twice there, and now Gilding's the one who's on the
100.
run, so probably the favourite's changed hands here at least 3 times.
So Gilding then needs
Andrew
70
107.
to go to within 1 leg of victory. So 55.
Oh.
Well, he's missed the big 15.
30.
Well, made a little bit of a mess of that, and he'll just have to hope that Walshy can't take out this biggest of out shots, which he can't. So Gilding will be back
105.
for double top.
Andrew, you acquire 40.
That's a good marker. If he can just slide in underneath that, and indeed he does.
Andrew Gilding.
So just one
Ten
more
legged
leg
Andrew
needed
to throw
for
first.
Gilding to book his place in round 2 in a match-up against Steve
Game
Beaton.
on.
And it is Gilding with the throw, so that was an important break. He does have the darts to kick off this 10th leg.
And what a time to break. A good strong leg from Gilding. And now
16.
Walsh really up against it. He fired off legs at 14-13, 11 to take a 4-3 lead. And you would feel that he's got to be looking at a 12 dart leg to stay in the match. Well, we see the first 9 dart average there, which is, by their standards, low.
190.
Anything over 110 is brilliant. 115 to 120 is, is the absolute first class throwing.
Yeah, it's not a lot to choose between any of the averages
140.
between these two players. You might expect the way that it's gone to and fro and nip and tuck.
He keeps picking off the one treble, doesn't he? He's not going to go away very easy, and Mark Walsh is going to have to work very, very hard. Surely he's going to have to switch to the 19s. No, he stayed on the 20s. And a visit without a treble is not going to do him any favours. Now, a massive chance here for Gilding. He's going to get at least 6 darts from the treble 2s. Oh, and look at that. That's plumb.
And what a time to fill up that treble 20 peg. Andrew Gilding with a maximum for a potential 14 darter, and more importantly, winning the match
140.
and making his way through to round 2. Double top then for the match, and he does it.
The match, Andrew
A
Gilding.
good solid performance for Goldfinger, beating Mark Walsh 6-4, and he will take on Steve Beaton in round 2 tomorrow. Up next on the stage here at the Salzburg Arena.